Welcome to CEN, the Collective Entertainment Network. This evening, we are working as hard as we can to bring you your regularly scheduled broadcast. Most of us have throaty coughs and the voices of gravel, but we will proceed tonight for as long as our voices hang in there. I'm Nost, and we are joined by Brian, Ray, Rose, Mason, and our favorite DM, John. As always, if you like what you see, give us a like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell and help us on our ongoing boss battle against the ultimate BBEG, the YouTube algorithm. In the meantime, let's get started with this week's Odyssey of the Dragonlords.
It's just hi guys. So pardon our mess there. Apparently, the sickness that 5 out of the 6 of us are feeling has also infected my computer. So we're going to be cameras down for a little while I fix it. You'll get to see me producing in real time. Other than that,
It's across
John.
the technology barrier.
Other than that, John, take us away.
All right. Let us begin. A man strode purposely in the heart of the military camp, his armor gleaming in the last light of dusk. The polished silver plate hugged his muscular frame, each piece edged with swirling patterns of dark blue that seemed to ripple like the restless ocean, waves crashing against the cliffs, defiant and unyielding. His first step was measured, precise, the heavy boots sinking into the soft earth with a quiet, assured weight. The crest of the order, a serpent coiled around a lightning bolt, caught the dying light glimmering faintly on his breastplate. At his side, a midnight black plume hung from his belt. Still, as if waiting for battle that was sure to come, while a polished shield, worn but well kept, was slung across his back. His face, exposed and hardened, told the story of a man who had lived through countless skirmishes. His features were angular, stern, carved by the winds of war and the passage of time. His eyes, sharp and piercing, swept over the camp with the vigilance of man who had seen death lurking in the shadows too many times. A deep and furrow etched his brow, and thought that through his expressions was one of control. The faint lines around his mouth spoke of weariness. He had weathered many battles, but something darker lay ahead. His every moment was purposeful, an embodiment of silent menace. He, Boar of legend, he, murmured his lips, curving ever so slightly into the half-smile. Though it never reached his eyes, there was faint, dangerous amusement in his tone, like a predator toying with its prey before the final strike. The air grew heavy with tension. Outside, the sound of distant, cackling armor and crackling of fire seemed to fade away, leaving only the commander's voice, dark and full of purpose. His eyes, sharp and calculating, flicked to the soldier, taking his measure with a glance. These upstarts, he continued. A thread of contempt now woven into his words. I think they deserve a bit more attention. His hand still on the wall, fingers resting on the cold silver. The silence in the tent deepened, as if the very fabric of the air held its breath, waiting for what would come next. The messenger, already feeling the weight of the commander's gaze, shifted nervously on his feet, his throat tightening as he struggled to find the right words. His hands twitched at his sides, betraying the anxiety bubbling just below the surface. Clearing his throat, he ventured, "Do you think there's any weight to, the prophecy that she..." His voice trailed off, stumbling over the words as if there were stones too heavy to lift. The question, unfinished, lingered between them like a shadow, ominous and full of unspoken fear. For a moment, the commander remained still, his back to the messenger. But when he turned, his dark eyes flashed with sudden, molten intensity. The tension in the air thickened, a coiling around the two men like a tightening noose. "That witch betrayed her father years ago," he groaned. His voice low but sharp enough to cut through the air. The disdain that dripped from his tone was venomous, each word soaked in a loathing so profound that almost tangible. "And by his grace does she still inhabit his temple, with her pet, let alone drawn breath." His fingers, still resting against the cold silver wall, curled into a tight fist, the knuckles paling as tension rippled through his arm. He took a harsh breath, exhaling, and the rush of frustration, and the muscles in his shoulders tightened beneath the gleaming armor. "The fact that," he began, his voice rising, but then something stilled him. His words cut short as a strange icy wind swept into the tent, sudden and unnatural, carrying with it the scent of storms and the distant whisper of thunder. The tent flaps rustled violently, the wind howling like a banshee, cold enough to freeze the very air. The soft glow of the lanterns dimmed, flickering as if the breath of some dark presence had brushed against them. The temperature dropped sharply, and for a heartbeat, it felt as if though the entire camp stood on the edge of something unspeakable, teetering over a principle. The commander's jaw clenched, his eyes narrowing against the chill, and as he steadied himself with deep, deliberate breath, his temper simmered just beneath the surface, barely containing a fire banked out, not extinguished. The flames flickered through the eyes, but he mastered himself, though not without effort. His fury was cold now, calculated, a sharp contrast to the early heat of his outburst. "I think," he said finally, his voice quieter, tempered steel beneath the calm, "that is the question better asked in person." He turned to face the messenger, fully, his gaze hard and unyielding. "Gather, Risa, and the others. Ask her yourself. I think these rebels need to be reminded of who commands these lands, and of the punishment for defiance." He straightened to his full height, regaining his composure, though the storm within him was far from settled. His lips curled into a thin smile, though it was devoid of warmth or humor. "As for me," he continued, his voice growing darker, edged with the promise of violence. I'll go to Astoria. The name rolled off his tongue like a curse, laden with disdain. I'll remind them of the Storm King's thunder. They'll know what it means to face true power. That pitiful excuse for God will be groveling before me, trembling in the shadow of real strength. His words carried with an ominous weight, each syllable falling like the roll of distant thunder, foretelling the storm to come. Send word to Eleanor of the northern steppes, he continued, his eyes gleaming with intent. Summon Astreus riders. I want every blade ready. Astoria will beg for mercy. The tent fell into silence once more, broken only by the faint rustle of the wind and the far-off grumble of a storm gathering strength on the horizon. The commander turned back to the silver-scaled wall, his fingers tracing its ancient, intricate patterns as if drawing power from its cold surface. His eyes burned with purpose. In the dim glow of the lanterns, he was a figure of looming, exorable force. The storm was coming. He was coming. And soon, the very ground beneath Astoria would tremble. Yes, Commander Basis.
There we go. I'm off of mute. Thank you, Nost, for reading that for me. Yes, that was Summon Acastus's Riders. I want every blade ready. And the last line was, Yes, Commander Gaius. But, well done. I know those names can be hard, and I appreciate you throwing your voice out there in the absence of mine. But, moving back into our world, and where we left off last time, our heroes, the heroes of the Heartlands, you heard it here first, had gone through and effortlessly defeated the Boar of Legend without breaking a sweat and with almost near remarkable ease, destroying this creature born of Lutherian Sidon.
The rest of Eritrea's crew, on the other hand,
Flawless victory.
They had chosen after the battle to sacrifice the Boar of Legend to that one god that nobody really remembers. What's she called again? The
girlfriend?
The Muse, yeah.
Yeah, Muse. Yeah, that one.
At which point, their traveling companion, the poet laureate of Mitros, Kyrie Ray Jepson, revealed herself as none other than Kyra, goddess of music, swiftness, and sweet-ass shoes.
And beauty.
And after being imbued with the divine spark from that sacrifice, she swore to them an oath of protection, where the goddess herself has guaranteed that she will protect them from something. The extent of what that means is not clear, but it never is in these sorts of things. Afterwards, they explored for loot, and they found a new traveling companion, one that has sworn to rid the world of the scourge known as Eritrea. Soon, one day. But in the meantime, he is going to study his enemy, learn her ways, so that he may defeat her swiftly. The Piglet of Legend, who has, as of yet, remained unnamed.
I named him last week. I don't know what you're talking about.
What'd you name him?
I named him Hamlet. You thought I was joking. I could see that face, so you thought that was a joke.
No, I'm updating it now.
Oh, yeah. I know I said that last week while we were still streaming.
There
Actually,
we go.
really
Hamlet.
fitting. Hamlet, father was murdered by.
Full circle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's an upper level comedy. I like it.
I like my ham steaks in circles.
You don't get to eat the piglet.
Not this one, at least.
You need to get a little bit bigger first, but yeah.
No, we're not eating piglet. We are not eating Hamlet. We named it. We can't eat it now. That's the
They were
rule.
also assisted in battle by the mysterious vigilante known only as Mitros Man. who vanished into the shadows.
Is this Mitros man at all related to the same Mitros man that Eritrea once fought in the arena and kicked his ass?
Mitros
No.
Man has never been in the arena.
Every time I've
Oh,
tried to call him
that's
out to get him in the arena, he doesn't show up.
I see. That's what it was. I forgot. I wasn't sure.
Mitros Man fights real crime. Actually, go ahead and make me a history check. Anyone from Mitros can do it.
I'm do it. Let's see.
I'm not from Mitros. I travel through there. Does that count?
You spend a significant amount of your time in Mitros.
I do. I really do.
Eritrea, you don't care. You challenged him, he didn't show up. However, Ozias, you know that he frequents the section of town known as Stygian Row, which is effectively the ghetto. They cram in all these. They call it that because that's where the Stygians live, which is their word for tieflings. But they cram them there along with the lower income individuals into this corner, the slums, so to speak, of Mitros. And that is where Mitros Man is known to fight crime and protect the innocent.
They make the best grogs down there.
I mean, you're not
In particular,
wrong.
that's also where most of the Minotaur markets are. But they were assisted by Mitros Man, who vanished into the night. They recovered their loot, and they were discussing what their next step was. And who was going to be the face of their book signing tour.
Book signing tour?
Or that's definitely a question Kira asked. Or yeah, Kira asked. Did I? I find that impossible. I didn't take notes on what the loot was.
Haha, I
In the
did.
bank.
I am ashamed of myself.
It
I
is
put it in the
your
bank
communal
and
bank.
in the loot tab in the Discord.
Yep, there it is.
The bank vault, there it is.
Also, Tanias says to you all, he says, "It looks to me as if you are going to be the type that are going to regularly sustain injuries from being stabbed by people that don't like you." His eyes rest on Dynamis the whole time he says this. And he says, "As such, I think that it would be wise for me to travel with you a bit longer."
I agree.
I think
I
that we
believe
could
it
help
would
each
be-
other. And if that's the case, I have something to give you.
I swear to God, if you shoot me with another dart, I am going to hit you.
You can try. If you don't want me to heal you, then I won't heal you.
You've already shot me with like 8 darts.
And
And
every
healed
time you
you.
came out healthier. They're called vaccines, and they work. Trust the science. In the meantime, and he comes out and he hands you each a bag. He says, "This is called a mini-handed pouch. I will give you guys your mini-handed pouch."
Ooh.
Effectively, this acts as a communal bag of holding.
Who puts their hand in it?
If two of you stick your hands in it at the same time, you can hold hands across the plane.
I do.
Who do you hold hands with? Who sticks
Hold on,
their hand
hold on.
inside?
Hold on. That's Gale. Did you stick your hand in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that was your hand. It's sweaty. Why are your palms always sweaty?
There are 5 of them, so he hands one to each of you. And he says the best bet would be to keep your healing potions in there.
So it's 5 different bags that all link to the same space, essentially.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like a group chat, but for potions and stuff.
But for all of our various drug needs.
It is my
Okay.
very favorite artificer infusion.
That is very freaking cool.
In my other games, I will have an NPC artificer show up to the party and rent them a mini-handed pouch because artificer infusions last for a number of days equal to the artificer's intelligence mod, so they have to rent the bag from him every week.
Okay.
But in this
So
one,
this. I was
you
gonna
have
ask
a doctor.
Okay, cool.
At
Is
least
this
until
one
you throw him away.
is this one set up to where we can like some of the other stuff where we can edit it ourselves and decide what we put in?
It should be. Let me double check. But yeah, it is. Let's see, can be edited. There we go. By all players. Now it is.
Cool.
But you can go in and you can say what is in there, and as you guys pull from it, does that say 4? Why does it? I don't want it to say 4. Ugh. There we go.
It's the latest model. It's the many-handed pouch 4. But, honestly, if we had waited another month, we could have gotten the many-handed pouch 5. Just saying.
That one has 2 cameras.
Yep. Whatever that is. All right.
And it's 0.03 inches smaller, so it fits better in your togas. And I even heard that if you get it on release day, there's this rare color that they're not going to make available at any other point in time.
Is it puce? I bet it's puce. It's puce. We need to get it. And Atreya, we're heading back to Mitros.
Good. I might actually make it back in time for my match. I missed the last one.
Speaking of getting back,
Kyra says, oh yeah, about that. They marked you as a forfeit.
They did what?
Yeah, he won by forfeit.
do you need me to find something for you to beat up?
Yep.
Cow, you want to see a bookie get beat? Watch. Just watch. Just watch when we get back. Just watch.
I'll keep an eye out for something.
They said that some halfling made a killing betting against you. And a bunch of guards, too.
I'm okay with the guards. The guards. They
I'll
were
help
nice
with the
guards.
guards.
We've put them through a lot of hell. The guards are pretty. I'm okay with them getting something out of it finally. But
Yeah, they've been pretty reliable.
If you remember back to the
you're not
prequel,
throttling
you
the
had
guards?
tipped the guards off that you were going to forfeit that match.
Oh, I remember.
Wait, you lose on purpose?
Uh,
What? That people do that?
No. So I point to Brontes, and when we received our letters, I was currently sleeping off Bender in my in the place I usually inhabit when I'm sleeping off Bender after throwing a halfling through a wall.
Bender.
Brontes said it was an urgent message from the Oracle, at which point I walked out of my cell because they don't lock it. It's formality.
It really
And in order for us to get away without causing them problems, we tipped them off that I would be missing my match due to hero business. No, the only time I've lost is this forfeit where I wasn't in attendance.
Oh, that must be him making a killing then.
Well, regardless,
Ozias did break their wall, so I mean, I guess.
I put it back, mostly. I think. Yes, I put it back. I fixed the wall. I put it back in place. But what time of day is it at this point? I know it was like late evening, and do we think we could possibly get back to the farm or to the inn before nightfall?
You couldn't get that far. You could try to find a safer place to camp if you don't want to camp out here. But it's up to you. As far as getting back to the farm, you would be traveling until about midnight to get there. Very late. Because it's about 7 p.m. The sun is going down.
Gotcha. Could we make it back?
And it
to
is currently storming its butt off right now, too. As a
Gotcha.
reminder, it started storming during the middle of the fight and hasn't stopped.
Would we be able to get back to the rock where we encountered the last group of boars?
That would be about a 2-hour walk, but you've been traveling for quite some time now. You can push for it if you like. but it will be a forced march for everybody except Guile.
For well, I mean, the question right now is the sun is going to be setting. It is storming right now. What would we like to do about this evening's accommodations?
What's the surroundings look like?
It's forest. It's forest and sort of rolling hills. You do have the cave of the Great Boar right before you, filled with corpses. That you have worked to put most of them to rest, at least the ones that were complete enough to put to rest.
Why don't we just stay in the cave for the night?
The threat is gone.
Yes, but Ertre, you know what happens sometimes with some of these caves. They get a whole bunch of dead bodies, and some people linger. Sometimes ghosts, Ertre, ghosts.
Ghosts.
Worried about ghosts.
Elise screams in a high-pitched voice that I can't make right now.
Ozias, are you afraid of ghosts?
Well, afraid is.
Are you
strong word.
uncomfortable around ghosts, Ozias?
They walk through walls. They're fucking perverts.
Well, it's perfect. There's no walls. It's a cave.
They possess people and they take over their bodies. And I'm sorry. It's just I'm not comfortable with ghosts.
Well, I mean, would that make you not comfortable everywhere then? Because they can
No.
walk through walls.
Yes, but they tend to stick around places where they've died, and usually violent deaths.
People die everywhere.
Yes, but they don't die violent deaths everywhere. I'm just saying, this is a big concentration of a lot of dead things. We already know that the goddess of dreams and the god of storms have touched this place.
Right, but we have the god of beauty, and everything's now better. And I will die protecting her.
Right, but I'm just saying, if we want to sleep in the cave, I won't make a fuss about it. I just
Would
Oh,
you
I thought
rather
you were-
sleep outside of the cave,
I would
Ozias?
much rather sleep outside of the cave, to be fair. I would
I
not
was-
want to sleep in the cave.
Actually, Osiris, if you want, I could keep you company tonight. I looks around. Things would I would prefer to sleep outside. I'd rather not be in an enclosed space if I could help it.
Wait. Okay. So you're uncomfortable around ghosts. You're uncomfortable in closed spaces.
It's
Perfectly rational things to be uncomfortable with.
Hold on. All right, everyone back in the cave. We'll figure this out. I know what to do.
All right.
Guile walks up beside you, Osiris. It's like, ghosts float by with silent cheer, haunting halls, but never here. They knock on doors, they rattle chains, yet vanish fast when it starts to rain.
Well done.
Do you still? How long does that last? That lasts like for the rest of the day, or?
It was for the rest of the day, yeah. Booza cry,
Like,
but don't be
kudos.
scared. It's just their way of being prepared.
Kudos for remembering that. Jeez. All right. Well, maybe I don't know. Fine. Dynamis, what do you? Dynamis, what do you have?
He's already in the woods. Like, if you guys are in the cave, he's ripping trees that are kind of already falling but still have like leaves and stuff. And he's gonna kind of like make like a teepee in a way of trees. He's gonna make a tree house.
Should I tell him that I can loosen the dirt so that they can actually sink into the ground a little bit?
No, I think no. He's trying to help. Let him help.
All right. So I guess that's the thing that's happening.
Well, if you don't want to sleep in the cave, you can sleep outside the cave in a house of trees.
A house of trees.
Let them be. It's a sleep we seek. The day is long, and I'm feeling weak.
I am fairly exhausted. Right, well, I suppose in that case, is there any other discomforts or phobias we need to be aware of before we sleep outside? Anyone else? Anyone have a fear of spiders? I can ask them to leave us alone.
I do.
Which I realize I actually can't do.
I was speaking for Brian, not
Not Dynamis.
It's real.
It is
I
real.
gotcha. It's a good thing I didn't pick out of the abyss.
All right. But yeah, all right. So we get that set up. Ozias will once Dynamis gets the little hut set up, Dynamis will start using ways of Earth to be able to create a little bit more comfort, like soften the dirt inside the tent, so that because it's much more comfortable to be able to rest on. Creating a place for us to be able to have an actual fire if we need it. Like an actual depression, bring some rocks up together around it to create a little barricade. Even at one point, he will move his hands, and seats will start rising up out of the ground. Little earth seats sit around the fire for wherever we decide to put it, because that doesn't
Very
cost any
cool.
resources to do.
Thank you for
Cantrips are great.
Thank you for moving the earth and giving me a bedding berth.
You are most welcome. It is a thing I'm able to do as part of my abilities.
You can tell he's tired. He's rhyming like
I think
continuously now.
there was a spark of magic, I think, during that fight. I think he might be have somehow cursed himself. Things like this should be only temporary.
He wasn't already.
I don't know that. I have my fair share of experiences with curses, but not really curses of the mind. Well, no, that wasn't the curse of the mind. That was different. What?
All right, so you guys are hunkering down for your long rest. Is there anything anybody wants to say to each other before we sort of go through the night?
I want to have Xiphos, after Ozias starts going to sleep, take out one of the tarps and start moving it like a pretend ghost, since he doesn't he flies and he doesn't see the ground and walk.
Two of my phobias: machines and ghosts. You're such a great friend.
I watched this intently.
Yeah, this won't end badly for Xiphos at all.
Before Brontes goes to bed, he is going to cast do a 10-minute ritual, and he's going to just put alarm where he's sleeping in a 20-foot area, and he's going to say, "Okay, all right, this seems to be the area. Okay, please do not come into this area unless it's absolutely necessary. I want to make sure that only thing that comes in here is something that wants to harm me. I will immediately have a dagger drawn. Do not bother me when I'm sleeping. Understand?"
As you're casting this, Halise goes up and says, "You'll keep us safe through the night, right?"
Yes, absolutely. Do everything in my power to do absolutely anything that I can. Just please do not bother me when I'm sleeping unless it's absolutely necessary. Okay? I need
I
it.
promise not to move away from you.
Wow.
Brontes just sort of looks over. Shit. And it's like, okay. And he begins to begin the spell.
Are you in the tent, or are you in the teepee, or are you in the cave?
I'm in the tent. TP.
Okay. If I hear that, I walk out and I'll just go sit in the cave.
If Dynamis gets a moment where he's a little bit separated from everyone, maybe while he's setting up the TP, or maybe whenever he starts walking out, Ozias is gonna run after him and get his attention. Dynamis.
You and the Piglet of Legend go there. Eritrea seems to be busy with something, but she's always busy doing something.
Up, little man.
I can't help but notice that you're not that much taller than me. Regardless, if you want to get some, I suppose the word would be points, possibly.
We're playing a game.
Pull out my pack, put a bag in his hand. It's a 2-person tent. I say, set this up for the lady goddess. Say it's for her use. Get yourself some points.
I can just get more trees.
You have to treat her uniquely, and it will get you some points. All I'm saying. A person who's had several centuries worth of experience dealing with people. You don't have a chance, but I have seen no harm in helping you.
What?
And I walk away.
How do I set up a tent?
You open it up, there's instructions.
Step 1, grab the tent. Step 2, set up the tent.
Thanks, like
You need to get Dynamis one of those like throwable tents. I feel like that'd be so perfect.
Tent by IKEA. Where's all the parts?
IKEA.
Put this together with all these extra pieces.
Sold separately.
This one's not even in the instructions. What is this one? And what's an Allen wrench? It doesn't have one.
Who the fuck is Alan?
And why do I need his wrench?
But yeah, that is something Ozias actually bought when he was back at the inn. He bought a 2-person tent. Since you built him a TP, he's going to give it to you and give you a chance to get points.
I will attempt to put up an actual tent and set it up for the goddess of beauty.
You got it.
My muse.
If you call her my muse, she will smile at you. If you call her the goddess of beauty, she like shifts uncomfortably. That's not me. That's well, we don't talk about Bruno.
The goddess of beauty. God of beauty? Excuse me?
I heard it was her wedding day.
It was our wedding day.
Helise is going to spend the night trying to get to know Brontes better, asking you questions about where you're from, what it's like. Have you ever been to Mios?
No one in that TP is getting any sleep because of this.
Bronte's entertainer. He will tell her as many things she wants to know about him. It's like, well, I traveled for quite some time. I've been in Mitros for... begins to count on his fingers. Well, if you want to remove the time I've spent away, that's about good 50-60% of my life so far.
Guile is passed out.
I will cradle him like a little baby, carry him into the cave.
I was already in the cave.
Oh, I thought you were... Okay. Then, never mind, I'll just leave you where you are.
I was in the little sleep area that Ozias made.
Oh, okay. I thought everybody was in the tree peak.
Oh, I sent up like the camp space like out by the teepee, by the tree peak.
Oh.
The tree peak. That is what it is now.
If you guys want, I can set one up inside the cave. I mean, he's not going to put as much effort into it because he's not using it. But
I mean, just use these old bones to make a mattress.
All right. Eritrea, run me through what you're doing. Let's play this.
With as soon as before Ozias goes to sleep, but kind of conscious just lays down. I'm gonna start having Xiphos get underneath the tarp and start moving a little bit, And just a little bit, just enough to where he opens his eyes and looks over, and I'm gonna have him go around the other side and like start getting slowly closer and closer off in a distance to make it look like a ghost.
Well, sleeping outside at the in the tree. Just so I know who Ozias is keeping track of. Like outside.
I think everybody's
So,
there then.
is everyone outside? Okay, everyone's outside of the tree. So, hear the noise? Hmm? No, there was. Dantes set up an alarm. There wouldn't be anything coming in. No, go this way. Ooh. Ooh.
Spooky, scary skeletons. Give you a fright tonight.
Ooh. Ooh. Eritrea. Tap, 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 tap.
What? What?
Can you hear that?
Hear what?
Can you hear anything? Weird sort of.
Error, terror.
Did you hear that?
What do you think it is?
You're a ranger. You know things. Is there anything that might make that noise? Any sort of natural thing that might make that noise?
I've never slept in the woods here. I don't know.
Brontez looks like he's still asleep. So there's no
Yep,
alarm.
and
Maybe-
there's Dynamis and Guile.
Yes. All right, maybe it's just maybe it's nothing to be concerned. I'm sorry. Go back to sleep. It's nothing.
You okay?
It's just I don't know. It's just it made me think. And we're this close to the cave. I don't know. Maybe it's just paranoia. And from our conversation earlier, I thought maybe it was a ghost. Then it made that other weird noise. But it's probably. I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sorry. Go back to sleep. And starts going back to sleep.
Eventually, I would let him sleep after a bit. I would make sure Zyphos stops. I don't want him to
Turn on a
not
couple more
sleep.
times.
I don't want him to not sleep.
At one point, you wake up, and there is a floating ghost right in front of you. And it is just pointing at you.
What? I hate it.
As you look at it, it fades from view, and you just see nothing. And then you hear a voice, the both of you, and it says, Ozias, always watching, no eyes.
I would pull up my spear at that point from underneath my pillow.
I see that
Uh,
she's getting
Eritrea,
annoyed.
you look over and you see Zyphos tangled up in a sheet and tied on the ground next to you. Make a perception check, the both of you.
I'm rolling great tonight. Holy crap.
Eritrea, you have no clue. Ozias, as you're looking, you can hear and you just hear a woman giggling.
I look around. Is anyone else awake?
You look around. You don't see anyone else awake.
Do I see any? Do I distinctly see anyone's actual face, or do I just see a bunch of sleeping bundles?
You see your friends and you see their faces.
I kind of give Eritrea that I use the best friend like communication via just like looking at each other's eyes and communicate that we need to get people up and awake. There's something up.
Eritrea, as you look at Ozias, you see standing behind him is Kyra, and she is pointing and just smiling.
I look over to where she went to sleep. Is she there?
When you look over, you feel a swift breeze, and you see her laying in bed where she was asleep.
Eritrea, this isn't the moment to be grinning. What? This is serious. We might need to
You
get
know, I
You
thought
suddenly hear loud snoring coming from that direction.
I thought
Loud.
I thought I saw what it was, but I don't know. It disappeared.
You did?
It's gone.
Ozias turns so fast that his laurels fly off.
We might need to start. We might need to take a watch. I think we got too relaxed. I'll take first watch. I'll come wake you up when it's after a few hours, and we'll kind of go from there. All right?
All right, that'll work.
Brontes, while you sleep, your alarm goes off.
I immediately like
Did
stand
you
up.
have an audible alarm or an inaudible alarm?
An audible alarm.
Okay. So that silent alarm jolts you awake. And when you wake up, you look over and you see Kyra kneeling next to Helise with a bowl of water and Helise's hand in her hand. And she just sort of looks at you when you look at her. She puts a finger up to her mouth, puts Helise's hand in the water, and then vanishes from sight.
Like what?
Dynamis runs
Do you
up
not
very
know this
quietly.
trick?
You're missing shit. Just runs back.
Brontes is unfamiliar with this trick. He just like look. He just sort of looks. Like just sees Car just disappear. I'm like, what? It's pranks happen in the middle of the night. Okay. I don't know. He puts like the dagger he has like in his pocket, like back into his pants where like he has stored, and he just sort of slumps down. Says, looks toward Helise. Says, you poor woman. You're gonna be the target of her amusement for days. Sort of like slumps down for a second. He begins to like look around. How's everyone else? Is everyone else asleep as far as he could tell, or is
Ozias is currently sitting up, taking watch.
I'll sort of like stand up from like where I was about to sit, and I just sort of like begin to walk over to him. Say, Ozias,
Yes.
why are you not to sleep?
There was Alright, I don't mean to panic you. There's something out there. It got into the tent not long ago. It hasn't done anything from what I've been able to see, but I'm keeping watch. I'll be waking up Eritrea in a little bit. I don't want to panic everyone. But yeah. Besides, I'm having a little bit of a hard time sleeping myself. A little bit too much adrenaline going through me right now.
What exactly came through your tent in the first place?
Pardon.
There's a figure who is I woke up and there was a figure who was pointing at me. They said it's hard to remember exactly since I had just woken up, but they vanished. Eritrea said she had seen something too, and Eritrea had heard it. So we're just keeping things in watch right now, in case it decides to come back. And I'm not too worried. I'm not worried. Why are you awake? Did you see
My
something?
my alarm was tripped. No, it was Kyra coming close to my tent. Elise and her are at it again.
Well, she is the goddess of mischief. It would make sense.
Maybe perhaps she's just pulling pranks on everyone right about now.
You think it? You think it was Kyra who I saw?
It's like, maybe. The gods work in mysterious ways.
Not in my experience, but maybe in this one, yes. Uh, well, regardless, it's still going to take me a little bit to really relax and get to sleep. Um,
What is your passive perceptions?
12, because I have an
Nope.
Eritrea.
Mine is 15.
15. You look over to where Kyra is sleeping, and she's not moving at all. Not even breathing.
Is that normal for gods not to breathe?
Do you ask this out loud?
That is exactly what he's doing. Do gods not breathe?
Have I ever known Pythor to forget to breathe?
You don't know.
Not
It's not something that's come up. But looking over, it is odd because you hear loud, comically loud snoring coming, but that tiny little body is not moving. Because she's like 5'3".
Yeah,
She's a very
she's
small, skinny woman.
small. I think it would be a ridiculous thing for gods to suffer from not being able to breathe, but at the same time, I think it would be ridiculous for them to be harmed by not breathing. I mean, I've never, well, I haven't really seen it as an issue with my liege, my lord, Pythor. Oh, that reminds me, I'll need to pray to him in the morning and give him an update on how things are going. When your god is also your boss.
I place a hand on Ozias' shoulder and I says,
I don't hold it there too long.
it's like, he just sort of looks at you for a second. It's like, just removes his hand. It's like, he'll be fine.
Ozias, give me a roll. But keep going, Nost.
Okay.
It hurts when you touch him.
It hurts when I touch him.
You take
like-
4 points of necrotic damage.
I was like, ow. It's like,
As a
what?
note, Ozias is not, he's not sleeping in his armor. He's presently shirtless. Like, you know, you would whenever you're sleeping out in a tent full of a whole bunch of people and it's probably stuffy and warm.
Yeah. But when you touch him, your hand hurts. And when you look down, you swear that it shines in the fire for a second.
Like,
Refrain from touching my bare skin when you can. I'm sorry. There's a reason why I wear very concealing clothing.
I see. It's like, was this some sort of contracted ability you've gained from someone, some patron, or were you born like this?
I was not born like this, but well, it is. We should probably have this conversation outside so we don't wake anyone.
Okay. One moment, as he will just sort of like glide over to Kyra. It's like, and I'll see if I can like, it's like sort of walk casually. I'm not expecting anything, but we'll see what happens. As Brontes is gonna walk over to Kyra, and he is gonna like, says, Kyra, forgive me, Kyra, hello.
It is incredibly loud snoring coming from that little frame that is not moving. She has blankets pulled up over her head. All you can see is a little bit of her black hair sticking out.
I sort of like begin to like unravel like the blankets like so I can like
You
Skyra.
find 3 pillows and a mop.
Ah,
And then you see a very strange little mechanical clockwork something that is making a snoring sound.
I just sort of like look inside and I just begin to like rip the sheets out and like she is at it again.
Possibly a good reason that that was a prank. Otherwise, you would have just exposed the goddess of music.
Uh, it,
Who
he
knows if
just
she sleeps in the buff or not, right?
it's like Bronson will sort of say it's like, well, it's a good thing that my suspicions were correct. Maybe. He just sort of
Uh,
drops the blanket.
we should step outside though, so that we don't wake anyone else with our conversation.
Yes.
As you guys pass Guile, he rolls over. The purple outfits march through the cheese with glee. Shh, don't wake the pancakes. They're climbing trees.
Somebody say pancakes.
It still rhymed.
I like the idea that you guys are actually saying this in character, like you're having this conversation and while you're asleep.
The piglet of legend has curled up next to a sleeping Dynamis and is nuzzling his beard.
The furriest thing there.
It's okay, bacon. In the morning.
Regardless, we step outside. Couple things you'll note on Ozias. He, typically while he's wearing all of his armor and his clothing, he might look like just an incredibly handsome person, with scars that look like they've been filled in with gold. Um, Now outside and seeing him properly, you notice first and foremost that he does not have any body hair. Instead of body hair, there is soft green moss that grows on his body, on his chest, on the upper parts of his arm. There is a very, very strong scent of nutmeg and cinnamon. Has almost, at this close proximity, almost has like the same impact almost like like an alcohol smell. Not like alcohol that's been processed through a human body, but like alcohol that's like something you would drink to keep yourself warm at night.
Smells like Christmas wine.
Exactly. um, the other thing you note is that he has scars all over his body, on his arms, on his like chest, on his sides. All are filled in with gold. In fact, it's this very, very smooth filling in, not like the twisting of flesh you typically get with scars normally, but it's almost as if it was gold that had been painted directly onto his skin. And most noticeably, you notice on his right hand side of his body, just below his right pectoral, is a massive just splash of gold that seems to stretch out across him, as if a huge chunk of him had been removed at one point and then filled in with gold.
Wow.
And as you kind of step outside, he looks at you and says, "Right, I was not born with this curse, so to speak. You've seen what I was able to do to some of the boars, where I transmuted some of them into gold.
Yeah, I have. Was it not a magical incantation or spell?
No. Years ago, when the Dragonlords first came, supposedly when you came, I was taken in, enthralled by their power, their strength. their mission, how they sought to use their power to protect the settlers. And I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be a Dragonlord, Brontes. I wanted to join them. But they did not trust the races yet of the native. They did not trust the native races. They did not trust us nymphs. And for good reason, I would understand. So I thought I would seek to prove myself. And so a settler village was being attacked, and I sought to come to their aid, to defend them. And I was mortally wounded. Do you know what the Geigen is?
I know what a Gigan is. Those large impenetrable creatures. What about them?
This, he says as he pats the wound on his, or the scar on his side, that massive splash of gold, was a mortal wound given to me by a Geigen. I should not have survived. Truthfully, I should have returned to Thylea and returned and become centuries later a new nymph. But I was rescued. I was rescued by Esther Arklander. Do you know this?
Yes.
Nost, make me a history check.
Oh, gotcha. What did I say?
The name seems familiar to you, but you can't quite place it.
It's hazy. When you say the name, a thought or two comes into my head, but I can't recall information about him. Who?
Mason, to you, that would be like someone saying, "Oh yeah, I was in the Battle of Troy." Wait, who's Achilles?
You are a Dragonlord and you don't know who Esther Arklander is.
The name is familiar. I. It's just something.
Esther
No.
Arklander is the greatest Dragonlord to ever live. He is a hero of the land. He spearheaded the battle, the war, to protect the settler races, to bring peace to this land. He is the greatest of you. If you are, in fact, a Dragonlord.
It's well, Bronte sort of like stands up. It's like, I am, but the name. Why is it vague to me? He begins to like think and press on against his chin. When it's been far too long. Please go the rest of your story about Arklander.
Regardless, he saved me. He rescued me from the Geigens. He carried me back to the mountains. He brought me to my home where I might be restored. And there I slept. We nymphs, we go into hibernation at times. Sometimes when we wish to return to Thylea, or sometimes perhaps when we are so mortally wounded that it would be death not to. And in the depths of the earth, in the mountains of Mithril, my wounds were healed. My flesh restored, my bones repaired, from what I'm able to tell, part of my lung, my liver, a portion of my heart was turned to gold. Severe wound, but one which I recovered from. But this took decades. By the time I awoke, the war was over. Dragonlords were gone. The oath of peace was in action, and the five gods had descended upon the world. And my dream was gone. The Dragonlords were no more. The dragon's gone, vanished. Since then, since I awoke, my touch destroys. My touch afflicts the soul and changes the body. It does not harm to me, but I cannot touch others without risking turning them into gold and then turning them to dust. There are only two exceptions to this. Only two people who I have ever known who are excluded from this curse.
And who are those?
The first is my lord and liege, Pythor, lord of battle, god king of Historia. I could never harm that man by curse or by will. The second is the lion of Historia, Eritrea, my dearest friend. She's the only person who I have found who is immune to this curse. She is safe from it. And we have known each other for quite a bit of time. But that is the origin of this curse. This afflicts me. This destruction.
He sort of like looks at you as you tell him this story, and he begins to like sort of like stare like deep into you as if he's trying to understand something. He's also, you can get the firm sense that he's trying to equate what you're telling him and the question you posed to him earlier. As he begins to say to you, your story is fantastical. The fact that you lived alone and born with this, the odds are insurmountable.
Well, it has been good to find others whom I can share the connection of touch with. But not all that we are is what we can touch.
Pancakes.
You sort of like look back.
He said that really loudly to reach all the way out here.
He must be hungry. I can hear his stomach growling.
Ozias, whenever you hear Dynamis say pancakes, you hear the piglet of legend also say, yeah, pancakes.
We may need
And
to have
sausage.
pancakes in the morning.
Sausage. That's right, bacon.
Worried that well, you can't hear this, but I'm worried that Hamlet might be a cannibal.
Ah, that would not bode
Or he
well.
may not know what sausage is made out of. Regardless, um, that is why you need to be careful, though. Mind whether you touch me or not. That's also the reason why I wear so much clothing. But
I understand.
yes,
That story was. I'll remember that story.
thank you.
And you,
Toast? What? Dancing toast?
he
What?
just like looks over.
Pillows?
But
You should get some rest.
after this conversation, you guys go through, you change shifts, you get your rest. Eventually, the smell of cooking food wakes you up.
A long rest. I have
You
resources.
get a long rest, yes. Reset your resources.
All right, sweet.
Oh, sweet.
Give my stuff back. Excellent.
Also, once again, kudos to John for the programming because my primal PowerPoints just reset on their own. That's freaking great.
But yeah, so you guys, you wake up. The smell of breakfast smells strange yet satisfying. It's something that you haven't smelled before. And you see sitting there is Kyra, the goddess, and she is sitting over what looks like a small sort of campfire, and she has these wrapped packages made out of metal? Question mark? She goes, "Oh great, these are almost ready. Good morning. I'm glad all of you, well, I'm happy that all but one of you are awake, but it's nice that all of you are awake, even if you're the worst.
Was Helise still?
But the rest of you, way to go. Remember, they say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Oh my goodness, aren't you looking fabulous?" And as you look over to Dynamis, you see that he is wearing a pink sash with some strange words on it.
What is this? What?
Oh my
I
god.
can't read backwards. What's that say?
It says bachelorette. Oh, you're getting married.
What?
Apparently, you're the bride too. You look
Did you guys
beautiful.
just message arrange this?
You know what?
Kyra says, "Well, don't you look lovely? Congratulations."
Thank you. Is this the points? Did I win?
You
Win what?
Sure.
I don't know.
It's just the
I don't know.
start.
I like it. I'm gonna wear it as a badge of honor.
You hear a scream come from Helise and from Neri.
I immediately draw my weapon and go to Neri.
I run over as well.
I go over.
You all go to check on Neri and ignore Helise completely.
I'll go check on you.
Well, you both
Neri!
discover the same thing. They are both covered in water.
Eritrea.
There are empty bowls next to the both of them.
I think they peed themselves.
Neri most notably did not pee herself, but she is covered in water.
I start laughing.
Helise, on the other hand, ...
Ew.
Let me clean you up and use waste water and like pull the water out from clothing and off of them, give them a little bit of dignity.
I swear, this woman is the worst. And she stomps.
I mean, I don't think that she failed at sleeping.
She says, "But I've made all of you breakfast," Kyra says. She goes, just mind, it's hot on the edges, but it's probably ice cold in the middle. I haven't figured out how to fix it yet." But she hands you this strange... It's a pita. And inside the pita, there is meat and cheese and sauce. It is like a pocket of heat.
Does she make a great pocket?
And sure enough, when you bite into it, the outside is melty and tasty and molten hot. The inside is frozen solid.
And she microwaved it. She figured out how to use a campfire to poorly microwave.
Guile is sitting next to her at the fire, kind of trying to gnaw at this block of food.
It is satisfying, but completely foreign to you.
You know, this morning with all the pranks and stuff, it's quite amusing.
I didn't want to prank you, though. You're special. And she pats you on the shoulder, and she says, I know that discovering new things about yourself can be very scary, and I just want you to know that you're doing very well.
Oh, thank you. It's much better than the last time things changed with my body.
Oh god.
I'm gonna walk over here now.
What?
Oh, geez, look at my wrist. And she just gets up and walks off.
What's on your wrist?
I don't know. She just watched her wrist and took off.
What's on her wrist?
All right. Well, I suppose we should figure out over breakfast what is our next destination. The
Well,
Let me just
Or-
reset these tokens real quick. All of you that have the health markers should be off. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm missing one. There they are. Pick up legend.
Are you just carrying the Piglet of Legends on your shoulder now, Dynamis?
It is just picking the food out of his beard.
yeah.
He's grazing. Okay.
So, Guile, I was thinking about yesterday,
Yeah.
and you did a great job in the battle, and I want to apologize for throwing a hammer at your head.
Thank you.
So to help me not pick on you so much, I want to introduce you to a very close friend of mine. And I will summon Blossom.
Ooh.
Pretty art.
Who is this?
How does she appear? What does it look like, Brian?
She looks exactly like her art, but she's this tiny little fey friend of mine. Fits right in my hand, and she prefers to speak Sylvan. And if you don't know, we can try to teach you. But she can speak Common and the old language of Elfish.
I know Elfish.
Oh, you can speak with her. She will do as I ask, but I tend to let her kind of do as she likes, and I'm gonna ask her to help you from time to time with things.
Thank you.
Mostly, it's an extra set of eyes on you, because I can't always be there for you, especially now that I swore to protect my muse.
You hear an abnormally loud voice come from her that says, "Hey, listen!"
Yeah, so when she says that, listen to her,
Okay.
because she'll say it a lot.
All right. Well,
And so
in Elvish, beckon her over, and they will start chattering away in Elvish.
be careful. Don't hurt her. She packs a little bit of a punch, but
She does have a short bow.
she does. And a tiny
It's
little
about
sword
that
to
big.
poke you with. More like a toothpick. Pretty sure it was a toothpick.
A big smile on Kyle's face. This is just wonderful. It's adorable.
And I imagine she's probably just as ADD as he is, So she's kind of like darting all around him while talking. Yeah.
It is very much Navi. Anytime you want to picture this thing, think The Legend of Zelda.
Yep.
Which doesn't help with your art being what it is, because you're not far from that yourself.
Link, the later years.
You're like Link and Fabio
Yep.
got together.
It's great.
Link in his modeling years.
Pink, Linvio, one of those.
How Zelda fantasizes Link after reading romance novels.
You change
50
that border
Shades
to
of
just Michael
Gerudo.
Roses. 50 Shades of Gerudo. 50 Gerudos of Shoddy. Right. Well, things aside, Kyra, what is our next step then? We have
I'm
defeated the
so
Boar.
glad that you asked. Let me pull out your itinerary here. So the book signing tour starts. Well, I figured you guys might want to go back to the Sour Vintage, but it's really up to you where you want to go from here. I know that Versi was interested in speaking with you, and you have completed your part of the deal as far as unlocking your prophecies to answer each of your individual questions. I know you each have questions. So there's that. Yeah. So I think that would be the next stop. But you could stop back at the Sour Vintage if you want to rest for a day, relax, have a day at the spa, spend your money, your reward money.
That was a reward?
I didn't pay attention to that.
I think
Oh,
that was a
yeah,
reward.
I'm sorry, I forgot. And she says, I told you, each of you are getting paid with one of these. And she pulls out a golden arrow. It is worth 25 drachmae, and you each get one.
Ooh. Okay.
I don't have a bow.
Apparently, the bards have been singing your song throughout all the taverns in Thylea, all the way as far as Mitros, about your great deeds. So soon, I'm sure the fame will follow.
Well, is there anything anyone wish to return to the Sour Vintage for to be able to purchase?
But
I have everything
Mr.
I need.
Pigshot is really a hit, I've been told.
Mr. Pigshot?
Mm-hmm.
Bacon.
But his name is Hamlet. Well,
As you see, I'm feeding the rest of the hot pocket to bacon.
He is eagerly eating up anything that he can get a hold of.
There's no reason go back to the inn. I say we go visit Versi. Wouldn't want to keep the Oracle waiting.
I mean,
Eat up.
Versi is
Eat up, little guy.
You've only been waiting 30 years, right?
Versi is quite famous amongst the nymphs. It would be an honor to meet one of my own kin of such renown.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, because she's like half nymph and half, Titan.
She still identifies herself as a nymph, right? She identifies as a water nymph or as a river nymph.
She is a water nymph, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it still would be a great honor to know her, to meet her.
There's nothing wrong with her being a Titan.
I'll be happy to go back to her.
Right, because canoodling.
We spent a lot of time together.
Wait a minute, are you one of Versi's pets?
I just sort of like look at him and say, not pets. We spent a lot of time together. That is all. We are mutual.
Right about then, Helise marches up to Kyra, and she goes, "Look, I know that you've done some terrible things, but this is the worst. I cannot believe you would do this." And she's waving a piece of paper at her, and Kyra's like, what?
I'm gonna grab the paper.
Look over.
You grab the piece of paper, and it has a handprint on it, and it says, "We know."
Huh.
Hmm?
I show it to Ozias.
Oh,
Never seen this one before.
That is this unfamiliar to us?
Never seen anything like that.
What is this supposed to mean?
Nope. As long as you're not getting an envelope full of black sand, we're good.
Check my pockets and stuff for black.
Why black
No
sand
black
specifically?
sand.
We know? Elise, what is... You seem to have an understanding of this? What does this mean?
You are the worst, and I don't care if you're one of the 5 gods. I will go to a different temple, and I am going to worship one of the better gods, like Valis. And she just turns around and storms off, throws the paper on the ground. And Kyra's like, "Yeah, well, who needs you?"
I feel like somewhere in the background there was like a group of like Kyra worshippers who all gasped when she said Valis and said, "That bitch."
I will pick up the folded piece of paper and tuck it into the pack of folding.
I just wave off Elise and I say, I wish you the best in walking back to town. And don't worry, you're not the worst. Hopefully.
You're the word.
Elise, it's still dangerous to walk back by yourself.
Elise has left the party.
She does a lot of storming off. She is quite emotional.
It's probably best for her to leave us, but I feel like it would have been better if it was in a place where she could be a little bit safer. She did come of her own volition to help us, and she did help.
Yeah. She did, but
She had like what, a kill count of 2? Like 1 goatling and
I mean, she cast spells. She did healing when people were
Yeah.
dying.
Adventure on me. Yeah.
hold weight.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
but she's a vegetarian, all right, and I don't trust people who don't eat meat.
No,
I don't.
Agreed.
I just work like with the 2 of them. Just keep my mouth shut.
You're going to have a very hard time if we ever meet the Sisters of the Old Wood.
Which one's the old one?
No, the Old Wood, not the Old One.
wood like a tree.
Wood.
Oh, the tree peak?
Trees. The gigantic forest to the south.
How's the
oh,
tree
not
peak
like a
work for you?
dick. Okay.
Yes.
I was gonna say that's quite a nickname you've got there, Ozzy I ass. They just call you Old Wood.
Not. Oh, there's nymphs in the woods that are older than me.
She
That's
high
sticking
fives
now.
Dynamis.
That's sticking now.
No, Eritrea, erase it from your mind.
I'm gonna
We're
tell
not
that to
using
everybody
No.
in Mitros.
No,
Absolutely, I am.
absolutely not.
Matthias, the old wood.
I'm a Norid. I'm from the mountains.
I know. That's the I.
You're right. He's rock hard. Oh, the
Uh,
fanfic's gonna love this.
I mean,
we would
old-
just
old
would
wood
he be
can-
more of a lumberjack if he's with wood?
No, he's old wood. He's soft and rotting.
Oh,
Your
the
life.
lumberjack.
And
This
would
is
it
just getting better and better.
and would
I
it
will
be
send this to the bards
Okay.
immediately.
Kara, I have an idea. And what if he traveled like 1,000 miles to give someone her seed?
No. He walked 500 miles and then 500 more.
Ooh, that's a good rhyming scheme.
So what? I'm a man who worked 1,000 miles just to arrive at her door.
Exactly.
Do I get anything out of this? What's going on here?
You get to give
Royalties, of course.
and you get to give someone your seed.
planting
Moving
an
on.
orchard.
Let's call it the golden seed.
Oh, that's a little better. Ozaias, the golden seed. I can see it now.
That means different things in the mountains.
The old tree orchard.
Moving on.
Mr.
He's like red in the
Oldboy.
face.
Moving it.
Moving along. I expect this from him, and I say as I point at Brontes.
Well-
This is what his kind do.
He's not even writing anything down.
And didn't you hear me yesterday? I was a poet and didn't even know it.
Are you still cursed with rhyming?
No, that one just came naturally.
Hey, Bacon, do you want to go back to Eritrea now? What's going on?
No.
Oh. Well, I mean, if that's the case, you can hang out here with the sash of honor.
A stash of honor.
Turns the sash into one of those little like baby carriers.
It's a Bjorn.
Bjorn.
A piggy
Baby
Bjorn.
You need sunglasses.
Yeah, I can make that happen.
You need sunglasses.
Iris
Right,
says, wait a
let's go
second,
to-
I have just the thing. And she turns around and you see that she's pulling stuff out of a very tiny backpack. And she starts digging around this tiny backpack and it sparkles with pink colors. It's bedazzled. But she starts reaching in and she sticks her arm in, and then she sticks her arm in up to her shoulder and she pulls out these dark colored goggles. Just like that.
I'm drawing that this week. I love that.
That's fantastic.
The question is, are you going to draw Dynamis in his onesie like
Yes,
that?
in the onesie with the bachelorette sash, piglet and sunglasses. Oh my god, this is gonna be
Perfect.
the best side story comic book ever. Everything accidentally just happens for no reason. Right, buddy?
But you guys pack up your camp, you start heading straight towards the Temple of the Oracle. Right?
Unless anyone had any reason to go back to the inn.
No,
Anybody?
Oh,
To
that's-
the temple.
no,
to the Oracle we go.
I already completed my work there.
All right, who is leading the way?
I can.
Give me a survival roll.
I have proficiency with survival. Can I give her assistance?
Sure.
Do I need to roll for that first, or?
If you have proficiency, you just do.
Okay, I do.
All right, a 16. It's easy enough to follow this path of destruction back to the road, and then it's just a matter of following the road. You travel most of the day. You stop for lunch. Is there any role play you would like to have over lunch, or do you want to keep traveling?
I'm okay with keep
All right.
traveling.
I'm here
You
traveling.
keep traveling. Kyra is writing and logging things and asking questions. What were your thoughts during this point? Oh, during the battle, whenever you jumped on top of it, what were you thinking? Things like that. Sort of getting a wonderful point of view from each of you. You continue to travel until random encounter happens. So let me move.
Je ne sais pas. Oh. Ooh.
I am not.
Ooh.
A grisly sight is before you. Griffins with blood-soaked fur and feathers devouring freshly killed horses. The remains of a mutilated rider, a heavily armed and armored man, have been scattered nearby into 4 separate pieces. Intent upon enjoying its feast, the griffins do not appear to have noticed you as of yet. They are heads deep into the corpses of these horses. Go ahead and set up your marching order on this map.
Could I make a check before we get into whatever's gonna happen?
What kind of check?
Um, would I know if these griffins are naturally, like
Okay.
evil creatures, or they're just predator
Yeah,
animals
go ahead and
eating
make me
another
a
animal?
knowledge nature check.
Okay.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Damn.
Pretty
you're the
good.
smartest
Big
barbarian
brains
I've
today.
ever seen. One
Damn.
second, my character sheet went crazy. But they are not known to be particularly evil. They are predators, and their favorite meal is horses. They will kill people to get to their horses. They will kill a human rider on a horse in order to devour its horse. Ever since horses have been introduced into Thylea, that has been the preferred prey of griffins.
Okay. And I will relay this to
And
the
you are
party.
certain that if you approach any closer to these griffins, they will probably attack you to keep you from stealing their horses.
Yep. So if we want to, try to battle these creatures. But this is a natural thing for them. This is their favorite meal. They didn't kill the people to eat them. They're eating the horses.
Are there any
If we,
human bodies anywhere?
Yes, there are two riders who have been ripped into pieces.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were armored, but that armor is ripped as well. Like you've got a torso and legs and a head.
get closer, they're gonna protect their meal.
I
I
would-
suggest we walk around.
And
Or
as you
if you want
start
to fight,
speaking, it pokes up its bloody head and looks in your direction with those eagle eyes.
I draw a
It lets
spear.
out
I'm
a
pretty sure these are
cacaw.
my. I pull out my Dorado. I'm pretty sure these are my favorite enemy.
They are monstrosities.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna ask if my speak with animals would work here, but if they're monstrosities, I don't think that's the case. I think we should just go around. This is not a fight that we need to do.
It looks at you when you say that, and in your own voice it says, just go around.
Do I know griffins as having mimicry?
Make a knowledge nature check.
I will help.
Thank you. 14.
Not really.
I think we should certainly go around.
Certainly go around.
Especially because of that. If they're willing to let us just walk by, I think it would be better for us to go around. I don't believe this is malicious. This is just them being them.
I second Z go around.
Bronze sort of like looks intently on this for a second. As a ritual, let's see here.
Ritual's taken
That's-
out for.
It
It'd
will
take 10 minutes.
Oh, so if we wait for 10 minutes, if the hunch is correct, I'll have to see if I can cast ritual for detect magic and see if there's anything see if anything is kind of causing this griffin in the first place, or frankly in the area.
If you wish to do that, we may want to up. If you start doing magic in this area, especially with them watching us now,
We'll
might
provoke
take that as they might become irritated with us watching them for too long.
Provoke and irritated.
Ozias, I think you may be
And
right.
only imitating me.
No, it just said provoke.
It used Dynamis's voice to say the word provoke, and it used your voice to say and irritated. Though notably, it was the same one griffin who did both at the same time.
Oh wow. This is definitely strange. This isn't natural. I begin to look at everyone else.
Can I make a knowledge check on these things?
Natural. Them just being them.
Given my weaponized racism against them?
Yes, you have advantage on that check as well. Make a knowledge nature check.
Something's off.
It is still a 14. You guys know what you know. They're griffins. They're doing stuff that you don't expect from griffins.
It could be affected by the magic that was used with the boar earlier.
With a 14, you're not really getting that because you're certain these are monstrosities. That boar was not. That boar was
Oh.
a celestial.
Okay.
But you, as a ranger, you are certain that these are normal monstrosities. They are just not acting like you would expect from griffins.
Might be that something's messed with them or changed with them. I still think it would be best to avoid them. Even if they're speaking, that may be all that's happened. And they may be
Well-
doing nothing more than mimicry.
Is Kyra still with us? Kyra, have the gods blessed griffins with the ability to copy people?
I mean, we haven't. We five haven't. As far as I know. Yeah.
Could be a learned behavior. I mean, cats can copy the sounds of children. I mean, it wouldn't be too far off to say that they've adapted a little bit.
Hey, Kyra, you're a god. You have true seeing. Is this real?
You know, I'm really just supposed to be here to observe and report, but I don't see any illusions.
Regardless, if we keep standing here for too long, they're going to. If we're
Yeah.
going to agitate them. If they are merely being themselves. If you wish to cast a spell to detect magic upon them, I would say let us back up a bit, and we would still need to get within a certain distance, I believe. What is it, like 80 feet, 20 feet, 10 feet? How far away do you need to be able to see them?
Eagles can see for a very
We have
long
to be-
distance.
We have to at least be within of 30 feet, close to these creatures.
We would have to get much closer than what we are now, and that would definitely agitate them. If we wish to do that, we would have to risk provoking them, or we can simply go around. My vote would be to go around. I see no reason to irritate them more than they've already been irritated.
Very well then. In that case, Brontes will say to everyone, it's like, well, in that case, let's just walk around then. This is strange, but maybe we'll hear something like this back in town. Maybe someone could tell us along the way. This is commonplace. Or if they heard of griffins that could speak and mimic.
The Griffin of Legend.
It pops its head up again from the horse and it says, "Run back to town." And then goes back to eating. His eyes still on you while it rips apart the horse.
Wasn't a mimic.
Or it was. It didn't sound like any of our voices.
It sounded like Brontes.
Oh, it sounded like Brontes said run back to
It
town.
just pieced his sentence into that phrase, "Run back to town."
That's
How far around would we have to go in order to avoid these?
I mean, as far as you want to, really. You would go off the road and into the wilderness. Hopefully there's nothing in the wilderness that wants to harm and or eat you. And then try and make you navigate your way back to the road. It shouldn't be hard with your aerial scout. Though throwing Xiphos into the air around griffins is a great way to get him destroyed.
Yep, I'd have to spend time making them.
Dynamis turn around and look at the griffin.
Run. Back to town.
If we stay along the side of the ridge here, can we pass by you?
It screeches loudly.
That's a no.
Are you sure? That could be a
No.
I'm
Yes.
pretty sure that's a no.
No.
They're very territorial. Even if we mean them no harm, they're going to eat us if
And he sort of, he
eat
takes
us.
like 3 or 4 steps forward and like spreads his wings and puffs up his feathers real big in a sort of threatening stance.
I've not spent much time around animals, but I would think that is a no-go.
I mean, I can
No
do that
go.
too.
We should go around.
Fine.
Yes.
Oh,
Let them
Run.
go.
Around.
let's deep into the forest over here on the right, and just make our way around.
How high up are these ridges?
I mean, let's see, 5, 10 feet. 10 and 15 feet.
Can I just toss everybody up on the ridge and we'll just give them kind of like a wide berth instead of having to go all the way around?
I mean, you can give them a wide berth on the left or the right. It doesn't matter if you avoid them. I'm going to assume that with a ranger in the party, you guys can avoid them sufficiently. If you want to give them a wide berth and not provoke them, all you have to do is say that's what we're doing.
We do that.
Always
Run.
hit 'em.
We do that. We circle around them.
Okay, you do that. You go into the forest. Someone roll me a d12. Eritrea, roll me a survival check. Add advantage because someone's helping you.
We'll happily roll that D12.
Oh,
never
okay,
lost
if you
it.
want to do his, we can do his.
Oh, it's okay. You rolled first. We'll go with that.
All right. Luckily, this is a level 3 adventure. A 13's going to do it. Eritrea, it takes you go off, but this entire ordeal takes you about an hour to get back onto the trail, but you're significantly further on than when you had started. And
Sorry
you
guys, I'm not a
are
runner.
free to continue to travel. You travel for the rest of the day, making your way further, and you see something else. Dun 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 dun. Let me grab. Yep, let me grab your hero stack real quick. As you travel, the first thing you notice about maybe another hour down the road, you see the crumpled up body on the middle of the road.
A body. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We go up to it.
You go up to it. It is Halise. You see her dead on the road.
Can I make a check to see how she died? Animal or
medicine check.
weapon? $21?
21. She was stabbed one single time in the neck.
What?
Most notably, as you search her over, she still has her money pouch on her, as well as her holy symbol of the 5 gods.
This wasn't a theft. Then this was just a slaughter?
Assassination.
Do you think it has anything to do with that letter that was on her this morning?
Maybe. I began to look around. Is there any notable signs in the wilderness? Perhaps a pathway someone could have used.
Roll
Was
a
she tracked?
survival check, Brontes.
Gotcha.
How long will it take to give her proper burial?
Um,
Go for it. 17.
between being that you have Ozias, digging isn't nearly as hard as it should be. If Ozias agrees to handle the whole making, one of you would give last rites and 2 drachmae. The whole ordeal might take 30 minutes. A 17. It doesn't appear as if the attackers came from the surrounding brush. You don't see any breaks, like where someone has sort of pushed through the leaves and come out. That leaves sort of an opening in the underbrush. You know what I mean? You don't see anything like that.
Does it show any signs of the body being dragged and placed here, or was it just like it was just sort of it was done here?
Roll me an investigation check, Brontes.
Very well. 14.
14. You don't see any sign of it being dragged or dumped. It very much bled out right here. A big pile of dried blood is right underneath where the body is.
But we're heading not towards the inn, and she was heading back towards town in the inn, wasn't she?
It's the same path so far. It hasn't split.
Okay.
I'm gonna check on Kyra and make sure she's okay. So I know, like, I pick on Gale, but that's because I care about him. And
Yeah, go ahead and make me an insight check.
yeah,
She's not even going to try and deception check you.
Technically, Thalise was a priestess of the 5. That includes.
Kyra seems sullen. She seems sad. I didn't like her. She was the worst, but I didn't want her to die.
Ozias, do you mind helping me with...
Yes, of course.
don't move her yet.
Step off to the side of the road. I'll find a good spot. I'll start opening up the earth. Using ways of earth to create
Strangely enough, Eritrea, when you look at the wound, it doesn't look like a normal dagger wound. You got really high on your medicine check. It seemed like it was a 3-pointed blade.
I know what those are.
Would I know what that is? Besides a trident?
Never seen anything like that, but it is not a trident. It's not a fork with 3 points. It was one blade that was 3-pointed.
So it's nearly impossible to close.
And she stabbed right in the neck, right here. One single stab.
Well, Osiris, while you're making the movements to move the earth around, Skyle's watching you very intently.
Yes, Kyle.
Just watching what you're doing.
Could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you find a stone, a suitable stone to act as a marker?
Yeah.
I think there's something that should be written on it for her.
And he kind of walks off, but you see, like, the hand movements you were doing, he's, like, trying to mimic.
Continue on with work, and once a proper grave is made and Guile returns with the stone, obviously I set up the earth so that the stone can be situated at the head. And you see as he kind of places his hand on the stone, using ways of earth, I adjust some of the density in the rock that he brings me, in a very specific manner, so that becomes very, very easy for me to then take out a mason's tool and start chipping into it, and it just caves to me in this way, and it doesn't divert as I start writing into this stone, because I've increased the density around where I want these words to be. And it will read, here lies Helise, priestess of the 5, a hero of the Heartlands, victorious against the Boar of legend.
You do.
You sort of see, you sort of see like Brontez like slowly like begin like a small tear begins to like develop in his left eye. He begins to like take out a piece of parchment and he begins to say, "She will not be the worst." As I begin to write something down.
Brontez, as you dip your quill into your ink, your ink pot explodes all over you. And Kyra says, "Ah, fuck, why'd it have to be now?"
I just sort of like look at her for a second, and I just sort of like
Well, I
drop.
figured you wouldn't wait all day before you wrote something.
I have an impeccable memory, and at this time,
Here, and she hands you an ink pot,
it's like
but you are covered in ink.
he just sort of like begins to like wipe his hands down on his like on his fur sides, and it's like, I will, Kyra, please, place in time.
Ink has a
Not like
earth
I
and
did it
water
just
base, right?
now. I did it last night.
She is not the worst. She will not be the worst.
I thought you were busy canoodling with Elise all night.
Noodling. I was there only with her momentarily. Wait a
I
minute.
slap
I'm
him.
not
I
going to
slap him on
judge.
the back.
I'm not going to judge.
I only thought
I slap
Kyra
him
was
on the
that
back.
quick.
I was like, I began to think about it for a sec. Wait a minute. Oh,
I slap Brontez on the back. Sorry for your loss.
it's like, oh, he just sort of like stumbles forward. It's like, oh, this isn't good.
Oh, this ink is going to. This ink is
It's
going
just
to
a little
stain.
ink. It'll be fine.
It's
Okay.
going to stain. I wish someone could just snap their fingers and it disappears.
He snaps his fingers and it just.
It just looks at himself and it's like, I think you need to be a practitioner. You have innate skills, Guile.
Apparently.
I begin to like dip my quill in the ink again, and I begin to write down just Hilise and all the pranks that between her and Kyra have been like sort of been dealing with, and I sort of write down finally on their gravestone as the heroes begin to mourn one of their own. We send her off. As we place 2 drachmae on the eyes, let her carry herself off into the ferry. Let her, the soul of known as Hilise, the priestess of the 5, who was known as never the worst, but someone who was on the verge of greatness.
You guys notice that as Brontez produces these 2 gold drachmae, they don't look like the gold coins that you're used to. His have a different design.
Older design.
Much older.
Do I recognize him?
No, you don't, because you only just came here.
Oh, fair enough.
But Ozias, you would recognize these as like antique coins.
Very old coins, Brontez.
They don't look that old.
I sort of like look at the coins and I'll say, these aren't old. Well, at least not to me.
Brontez, I'm pretty sure those coins are older than me.
Oh no, they're not that old.
Oh, they're not that old. They're like several mints removed from modern.
So modern coins have the figure of King Acaestus printed on them, who is the king of the world and the greatest, smartest, most handsome hero that there's ever been. Every drachmae has that. Every lepta has the same design that it's had for years. It has a picture of Xander on it. These drachmae have pictures of Xander on them.
The drachmae had pictures of it? Wow.
Yes. Brontez's drachmae. Most of his drachmae. Also, a lot of his drachmae also have pictures of Sidon on them.
Interesting. Okay.
As best as you figure, he said that he hangs out with Versi, right? And she's been getting money for years.
Probably just, really old coins, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, makes total sense that Versi's pet would have
right?
Not
Like maybe
pet,
he was
no.
cleaning out the
No, that's
couches
not
one
the
day and he
PC
just
word.
sort of reached underneath the cushions and
So you're saying Versi isn't contributing to the economy?
Mercy is the economy.
she just takes and takes and takes. But you all provide a proper burial for Helise. You feel blessed as you do so. The sun shines a little bit brighter on you, and you are under the effects of the bless spell for 12 hours.
Sweet.
Ooh, nice.
As you are blessed by Mitros. Mitros likes whenever you take care of her priests. You continue on your travels, parting ways with the corpse of the dead Helise, who stormed off after you picked on her. Giving a beautiful burial service. Well done, everybody. And as you continue to travel, you hear the sound of weeping on the road. A woman weeping. Coming across, you come onto a scene of carnage. Did I put you guys on this map? I did not. Here we go.
See
Paste.
a map of darkness.
There we go.
Oh.
You've come across
Oh.
a scene of carnage as you see bloodstains all over the place. And there is a family sitting on a cart. A husband, a wife, and a young boy. And their cart has been ransacked, their oxen murdered, and laid waste.
What's the wife look like again?
I mean, you can. There you go.
She's married. Dynamis, bring it down. Bring
No,
it
no, no,
down.
no, no. The character art. She looks like the actress who plays the Scarlet Witch.
Oh, I can see it
A little bit, yeah.
I see it in the eyes.
I'm gonna go up to him and ask what happened.
All right, move your tokens accordingly.
All right, I also go along.
You're an Olsen, aren't you?
The man, he looks at you. He's dressed in sort of. They're relatively fine clothes, like not like king level, but definitely like above the normal garb. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Oh,
Of noble
no."
quality.
He starts looking around at these ridges, and he says, "Whoever you are, run from this place."
No, it's
What's
okay.
happening?
We have an Ayatreya.
And right about then, you hear a voice that says, calling out from the ridge, "Drop your valuables or die." And the child ducks underneath the cart. The woman ducks underneath the cart, and the man says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to warn you."
Don't worry, we'll make quick work of this.
So my first thought of when you said drop your valuables was Giles just gonna fall flat.
But whenever you guys, we will go ahead and you see emerging from on top of the ridges, archers, emerging from the bushes, vagabonds as bandits have appeared. And they say, "Know this day that you're facing the great and wonderful burning sting. Throw away your valuables or else." And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Because my voice is gone. Thank you for reading the intro for me, Nos. Thank you everyone for listening. If you liked what you saw if you liked what you saw tonight, give us a like and a subscribe. Hit that notification bell and help us on our ongoing boss battle against the ultimate of BBEGs, the YouTube algorithm. This has been CEN. I'd like to thank Ray, Mason, Nost, Brian. You're all sick. You're sick like me, and you're still here. Rose, you were sick last week. You're still here. You guys did fantastic. Great job role playing through that funeral sequence. I can't wait to see the art that comes out of Hamlet with sunglasses. And next week we will have a full length session. Hopefully, probably. My voice should be better. My voice should be better by then. But Until next week, this has been the Collective Entertainment Network, CEN. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you later. Goodbye, everyone.